Here are 10 reasons why you should visit Somalia. On my 3 trips to Somalia and Somaliland, I realized that the Somali people are some of the most unfairly treated people when it comes to media bias in the entire world. The media continues to show bad things about the Somali people in Somalia and Somaliland. So that is why I decided to make this video, because I couldn't find anything like this, and I want to show good things and things that you can learn when you visit Somalia. So here are 10 reasons why you should visit Somalia. Number 10, advanced technology. Now I know you probably don't think this going to Somalia, but they really do have advanced technology. See, when I went to Japan, I was actually really surprised. A country that I thought would have advanced technology made me pay in cash for everything. They hardly ever took credit cards or banking any other way than through cash. Whereas in Somalia, my friends wouldn't even bring cash with them. All they had to do is bring their phone, and not even a fancy phone, just a Nokia cell phone, a cheap cell phone, because through texting, they were able to make all their bills and payments. This isn't just for fancy buildings. This is for people selling on the street. So Somalia has mastered banking, and this was on my first trip over 5 years ago. They had mastered it before any other country. Go Somalia. Number 9, learn what's important in life. Being born and raised in the Western culture, I was taught that the more money I made, the more happy I would be. It was all about making money to impress others. But in Somalia, this doesn't matter. What matters is if you're a good person. Are you kind to other people? Are you friendly? How are you with your family? And most importantly in Somalia is humor, because Somalians love to laugh and make jokes. And so we all, Westerners, could learn from Somalia about what truly matters. Number 8, learn that HIV is due to culture and not race. See, a lot of Africa has extremely high HIV rates. It's really, really horrible. And as you start looking around the world, you also realize many other countries with a large percentage of blacks have high HIV rate, like Bahamas and Haiti. And so you might start thinking that blacks equal HIV. But thank you, Somalia, because Somalia has one of the lowest rates in the entire world for HIV. And if you don't know, Somalis are black. And so it shows you that it depends on the culture and has nothing to do with race. And it helps confirm to everybody that HIV is all about the upbringing and culture you have. And if more people would behave like Somalis, HIV would not be a problem at all in this world. Number 7, support Somalis. See, most businesses in Somalia are small family-run businesses, very different than the Western world where we have big corporations. In Somalia, it's usually mom and dad shops, a few workers. And so as a tourist, when you go to Somalia, you have to eat somewhere. You have to spend the night in a hotel. You have to pay for a tour guide. Sometimes you have to pay for bodyguards. You have to pay for a lot of different things. You're going to buy things at shops, souvenirs, different items. And all of that money is going to these small businesses. You are supporting small businesses in Somalia. And one of the best ways to help a country get out of poverty and be successful is to help their economy. And so you're directly helping their economy. You're directly helping these individuals that are small business owners. And even my own friend has started a tourism company in Somalia, and he needs Westerners to come visit. And so the more tourists Somalia gets, the better off the entire country will be because you're helping invest in the economy. Number 6, learn that Muslims are of all backgrounds. See, growing up in a Western country, in America, when I thought of Muslims and when it was showed on the news, it was always people from Iran or Syria, Middle Eastern looking white people. And that was my image of Muslims. But when I went to Somalia, I saw an entire country of Africans that were Muslim. And so even though in the back of my mind, and I'm sure in the back of many Westerners' minds, we know that Muslims can be any background, when we see it in reality, it makes us really realize that it's true. And you easily see that Muslims can be Asian, they can be black, they can be white, they can be any background, and it's all inclusive of all religions. That anybody can be Muslim. Number 5, learn the great diversity of Africa. Again, growing up in America, I learned about the different cultures in Europe, France, Germany, Norway, Switzerland, Italy, Greece, and learned that not only do they have different cultures, the people have a different appearance, and we learned all about that. But when we learned about Africa, we learned Africa as one country. It was Africa. And we didn't learn about the individual countries. And sometimes some of the countries, especially in Western Africa, can feel very similar. But when you go to Somalia, you see a country that is different than any other country in Africa. You see a culture that is different than any other culture in Africa. And you see a group of people that don't have the same looks as they do in Sudan or the Congo or Senegal. They have a very unique look and appearance. So by going to Somalia, it helps you realize that Africa is very diverse and has many different cultures and backgrounds, and not all of Africa is the same. Number 4. Eat amazing Somali food. So first of all, it's more than eating the Somali food. It's the entire experience. See, when you hang out with a bunch of Somalis, you'll soon realize that they like to share food, and they'll just cook a big meal and share it. So that's the first thing you'll realize. The second thing you'll realize is they like to use their hands when they eat food, which again, being a Westerner might seem a little strange, but it makes it a very social experience, an experience where you really get to interact with your friends or family. And so it's a fun experience. It's not just about eating, it's a fun environment. And so those are the first two things before we even talk about the food. And the food is so good. They have anjero, which I hope I said right, which is a flatbread, which kind of you use sometimes almost as silverware to help scoop up the other food. They have sambusa, camel, rice. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. And I don't know the names of everything I tried because my friends were just giving it to me. There's so much. But it's like, Somali food is like if you combine like East African with Yemenis or Arabic food combined with Indian food maybe. If you combine the three of them, but that's not even a really good way to explain it. Just go to Somalia and have some food. And that's the best way to show you what Somali food is like. And number 3, discover beautiful Somalia. Somalia is gorgeous. It has the longest ocean shore of any country in Africa. It has tons of beautiful rolling deserts. But it has more than that. It has valleys, it has mountains, it has rivers. The landscape is just incredible, and you have to go there to see it. Number 2. Learn that Somalia is not dangerous. If you ask anyone, basically in the world, what are the top 5 most dangerous countries in the world, Somalia is going to make that list. They're not basing their information on facts. They're basing their information on what the media is showing them. If you actually look at statistics and data, the United States is more dangerous than Somalia. And thousands of tourists go to the US Virgin Islands every single year. And yet, the US Virgin Islands is 10 times more dangerous than Somalia. So why is Somalia wrongly accused? Well, number one, because that's what the media portrays. Anytime something bad happens in Somalia, it gets blasted in all the media. Whereas if something bad happens in the USA or Latin America or the Caribbean, it doesn't even barely make the news. They're just unfairly treated. Number two, racism. That's the world we live in. Over 18 independent Caribbean countries are more dangerous than Somalia, yet thousands upon thousands of tourists every single year go to Caribbean islands on vacation, and yet they're afraid to visit Somalia. And number one, most important reason to visit Somalia is to see the truth of Somalia. One of the things that bothers me is foreign journalists. I don't mean this to be racist. White foreign journalists that go to Somalia and specifically look for something bad about the country. I know somebody personally that went there and had not a bad experience at all, and then wrote about how it was so dangerous that he was going there and he wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. Yet nothing bad happened to him, and nothing has happened to any tourist I have heard of that has gone there. And so it's very frustrating because these journalists are trying to get other Westerners to read the story, and they go writing a story about my trip was okay, nobody's going to read it. But if they write a story about all this horrible things that happened and how they survived and make up this unbelievable story, it gets shared and they make a lot of money. And so these journalists don't care about the Somali people. They care about themselves and their own business interest, and they're hurting Somalia in the process, and they're lying. If you don't believe me, just look up Mogadishu, and first look it up in English. And when you look it up, you see terrorist attacks, you see broken buildings, you see really horrible things, because that's how the Western world views it, because that's how white journalists go and report about Somalia. And if you look up Mogadishu in the local Somali language, you're going to get beautiful scenery and just normal buildings, normal life like you would in any other country, because that's how the Somali people see their country. They're not fooled by fake news because they live there every day. The only people faked out by what Somalia is people that have never been there. And so are you going to listen to journalists that come for 2 days? Or are you going to listen to the people living there every day? So it's about time that we start seeing Somalia as how it really is, which is an amazing, beautiful country. And there's only one way to really know this. So go visit Somalia